To surpass the current physical and mental borders which are hindering the development of African continent, meeting the digital challenge to achieve an integrated and sustainable economy for growth. This was the issue on the agenda of the second African Convergence Conference, was attended by about 30 speakers from all sectors of activity and about 300 CEOs from an unprecedented dialogue on the future of the continent. Also on the table for discussion was regional integration, financing, unearthing talents, and emerging issues related to the harmonization of economies. Participants therefore discussed the challenge of digital transformation. Thanks to the digital tools, the African entrepreneur is able to structure original solutions adaptable to the challenges of the continent.
Today, the African continent, the African tech to be specific, is that they solve problems. Moreover, they are referred to as problem-solving companies. We are trying to remove the barriers and obstacles that today prevent African tech to evolve, offer visibility, do everything possible to find solid partners. And, above all, we put them in connection with investors.
These economies are experiencing dynamic population growth that will experience real transformation in the years to come. Transformations often presented as challenges, but which can also be seen as opportunities.
The African continent is an exceptionally important continent for a very simple reason, and that is the growth that is expected over the next 30 years. It will be the most rapid growth the world has ever seen. You know, the population will double on the continent by 2050. This is actually an absolutely exceptional leap forward. I would say that if you humanly compare this to what has already been done in China, you will find that we are facing major challenges. So for companies like Veolia in particular, Africa obviously is a land of opportunities.
And the investors are not mistaken. They are increasingly targeting startup incubators in Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya, among others.
Startups are those who provide services. There are some who provide innovative services. We saw in mobile banking in Africa. It lets you move forward. And today, startups are changing the face of Africa as long as Africa is oriented towards Western startups. Today, Africa is turning to it, even in startups who know the realities of Africa.
According to the investment fund Partech Ventures, African startups are breaking records of fundraising. In 2016, the continent Young Shoots attracted $367 million, a 33% increase over 2015. These good figures, however, are far from erasing the mass prejudice surrounding the business environment in Africa, a perception that must be changed urgently, according to the president of Mo Ibrahim Foundation.
What only talk about African corruption? What about those with Chinese corruption, American corruption, European corruption? We need to be really fair in looking at this issue of corruption. What about companies not paying taxes in Africa? What about profit shifting, mispricing? There is a whole of corruption around us. What about anonymous companies? Companies where the beneficial ownership is not known, where people hide their money stolen.
The convergence of African economies is also hampered by low level of trade. But experiences such as the famous Kimbankwist Orchestra put humanity at the center of development and are a start to this sharing perspective.
An adventure that brings together several people. And in this adventure, we actually had faith in what we're doing. And also patience and perseverance, so that together we can achieve something. And I think it is a very important message to bring to Africans, that we must support ourselves. We must be together. We must not always put money forward, but rather ideas, in order to be able to achieve something.
Currently, intra-African trade does not exceed 20% of total trading. In order to improve these exchanges, the participants of the international conference called for states to pool their comparative advantages.